Oh, hello, you bunch of YouTube folk person. Welcome back to this channel about filmmaking or something of that. Still haven't decided what I'm doing with my life. You're probably, or most likely not, wondering, why am I laying on the ground with a microphone in my hands? Well, today I'm gonna do something very original that's never been done before, which is what's in my bag video, because you know, I really want to be a YouTube superstar and rake a lot of sponsorships. So please, Blackmagic, sponsor me, please. Or like Mikey or DZO. Just a little bit of context. I just came back from a big-ish shoot, which was and after every shoot I usually just like go through my whole gear and just like, you know, see if everything's in there, and just like charge all my batteries and reorganize all my accessories. So I'll just show you what's in my bag so you can you know, just see what's in my bag. Anyway, let's get to it. So here it is. This is my bag with everything that I use to film, or almost everything, because there is this camera, but it's a Fujifilm XT3, which I mostly use as like C cam, or it's just like my everyday camera that I just carry around with me to, you know, take snapshots of my wife, my dog. I love taking photos. It's just an everyday camera, which is pretty dope. Let's move further down this bag. Ugh. So let's start with the pièce de résistance, my URSA Mini Pro G2. So I basically bought this camera as soon as it was released. When I picked it up in Vancouver, the guy told me that this was one of the first URSA Mini Pro G2 in Vancouver. So it's been serving me like days in and days out for a little bit more than 3 years by now. And honestly, I wouldn't trade it for anything else. The way I usually kit it is with this microphone stand here. This is the original Blackmagic handle, which is great, to be honest. And then I have this Blackmagic handle. I've been using that thing so much that the plastic just is starting to peel. That thing is becoming gross, but yet again, it's all banged up, it's all used up, and it's been serving me well. No complaint about that here. And then these batteries, which are the, you can't really see it, but it's the Shape. It's a Montreal company. It's a Shape battery, V-mount battery. Flip it in, and voila. It's big-ish, but not too big. And as you can see, I have this piece of Velcro right here. It's I like to put some accessories on there. I think the runtime for those three is about 9 to 10 hours. I've been using them for as long as I have the camera, and they're still performing, I think, almost as if they were brand new. I'd say they're like at 80% of what they used to be after 3 years, so no complaint there. Next comes the battery charger. It's very simple, Shape full play battery charger. It takes 2 of my batteries. It's almost always in my bag. Next up is this here. This is what I use to plug my URSA in the wall. Very useful for when your camera doesn't need to move. Every time I shoot an interview, if I can plug my camera in the wall, I use that. It just like removes a lot of strain on my battery. I've shot a whole kids kind of show with that, and the whole day it was plugged. My camera was barely moving. It was perfect. Like, made my it's just perfect. It works well. It's cool. Then this trusty little lens, which is the Sigma 18-35. I'm not a big fan of that lens. It's just like, it's a little bit too sharp and too clinical for my taste, to be honest. When I used to live in Vancouver, I'd go out and rent lenses when I needed it. And this was on my camera when I didn't need that, when I was like filming vlog for influencers. On that lens, I always have a Tiffin Black Promise, usually a 1/4, because I find that lens to be way too sharp and clinical. So with that, kind of reduces the sharpness and it makes it so that it's not as clinical. It gives a nice halation to like the highlights and stuff. I always have this little light here. It's been useful a couple times on a couple shoots, just to have like a fill light, or you put that behind a model or your subject, and it just shines a very soft light, and yeah, useful. Then I have a bunch of random chargers. Those are for my Fuji batteries, or NPF batteries. I have like a couple of those laying around. And then here we have my Rode microphone. This is the Rode NTG2, and I have the same kind of vision for that microphone as I have with the Sigma lens. It's not my favorite microphone. When I listen to it, I'm not like blown away, and I know there are better options out there, but this always worked fine. I've shot like days and days out with that thing on a lot of projects, and it worked fine for me. So when I needed something else, I just go and rent it. This is more Promise filter. I have like the quarter is always on my lens. This is an 1/8, and this is just a random UV filter that I use to just sometimes smudge. Like I'm gonna put a little bit of like sebum and then just like smudge it with that, and it creates those kind of like weird, soft kind of effect. What else is this? Everything? No, there is this little bag. This is one of the most important piece of my equipment, I think, because you have everything you need on a pinch. A lot of elastics, a screwdriver, another screwdriver, a set of like torque wrench, Allen thing, a foot for my microphone, another foot for my microphone, another microphone cold shoe thing, another cold shoe thing, more Allen keys. Yeah, a lot of things in there, like blades. I always have blades on me. A little measuring tape, because you know, usually it's quite often very useful to be able to measure things. I have that in. A lot of little screw, battery, and I need more batteries. I've been using those batteries like crazy, and they're depleting fast. More little screws, you know, a lot of knickknacks, very useful. Okay, so now we're done with that part here. Let's go on the sides. So here I have a couple SSD, a Samsung T5, a Samsung T7. I usually have a couple of them around. Very useful when you're carrying projects around, or when your memory cards are full and you have to film. Those come in very handy. They're cheap. 1 terabyte, they're fast, so I can film like in RAW. I have a bunch of projects on one of those, and it's always with me. It's just like you go somewhere, you can work remotely, or when you switch from a laptop to your desktop, always useful. Bunch of cable, USB-C to USB-C, USB standard to USB-C. I have this Pro Grade. This takes CFast and SD cards, very useful yet again. And what I like about it, it's that it's magnetic. It's awesome. I can just like put them on the side of a computer, and it's not just like lying around. It's somewhere safe. Then in this pocket I have, you know, mask, because you know, last few years were very masked up, so I've always had a bunch of masks laying around just in case. A notebook, always useful. A couple pencils, and then a lighter. A lighter is very useful, and a Sharpie. You never know when you're gonna need a Sharpie. There you go. And in this pocket I have gaffer tape. always carry gaffer tape. This is my favorite. It's thin enough to not take a lot of space in your bag, but yet it's strong enough so that you can just like wrap it around many times around an object, so you can stick it on anything, and it always comes very handy. I've been using this same tape since I can remember. It's always served me well. And then here I have XLR cable, always useful. Always have 2 of them on me. You never know when you're gonna need them. So this bucket is empty. Let's go. Here, I better receive nomination for best YouTube video ever. So here in that upper pocket, I have CFast 2.0. I have a CFast 2.0 card. Silicone power. I've used this one for quite a while and it's very good. I have a couple of them and they've been working well. 256 gig. I can also film every codec with that one, which is cool. Been using it for a couple months and no complaints so far. A bunch of SD cards. This always comes in handy. Those are cheaper SD cards, always useful for sound devices. And then here we have, just gonna empty that here. We have more USB cables because you always need more of them. More USB cable, more USB cable. This is a Fuji battery. Always have a couple of them. More USB cable. And then if we fold, this is my monitor, which is pretty much a cheap monitor, to be honest. Lily put 1800 nit monitor. I don't often use a monitor and I didn't want to spend a lot of money on a monitor, so I bought that. And it doesn't really look all that good, but I don't really rely on monitor for color accuracy. I use peaking on my camera and I use LUTs on my camera, and everything is on my camera, and this is usually I put it like on the side. And that here I have some NPF batteries. With those 2 I can shoot for like 2 or 3 hours on a pinch if I want to monitor like separate from my camera, but I usually power it via my D-tap. And then here a little magic arm. This is my SDI cable. I need more of those. I lost a couple ones and some more have broken, so I only have 1 left, which I need to order more because those just kind of die and get lost all the time. Some HDMI cables. I don't really use them, but they're useful when I use it with my XT3. This big bag is a Lowepro 650 AW2, which is the biggest bag I could find for a decent price because I didn't want to pay like a couple $1,000 for like those designer bags. And it's been working well. As you can see, it fits everything I need except my lights, but this is another subject. That's basically what's in my bag. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up. If you didn't, please leave me a thumb down, because that's what YouTube is for, you know? Nasty comments and hate speech. So please leave me a nasty comment and have a nice day. Bye-bye.